So this is from a BBC News article from September 3rd, and it's titled NSA Surveillance Exposed by Snowden Ruled Unlawful. So the NSA surveillance exposed by Edward Snowden ruled unlawful. And you see a picture of Edward Snowden here for those who don't remember him. And I'll just read a bit from this article. A national security agency surveillance program has been ruled unlawful 7 years after it was exposed by whistleblower Edward Snowden. The surveillance of millions of Americans' telephone records first came to light in 2013. Now, the U.S. Court of Appeals has ruled intelligence leaders who publicly defended the program lied. And Mr. Snowden has said he feels vindicated by the ruling. He currently lives in exile in Moscow, but last year expressed his wish to return to the U.S., where he faces espionage charges over his decision to go public. Quote, I never imagined that I would live to see our courts condemn the NSA's activities as unlawful and in the same ruling credit me for exposing them, Mr. Snowden said. And yet that day has arrived, he added. Top U.S. intelligence officials had publicly insisted the NSA had never knowingly collected data from private phone records until Mr. Snowden exposed evidence to the contrary in 2013. I thought that this was just a story worth highlighting. I just want to put my view on this on record and let it be known that I support Edward Snowden. I support everything that he did. I believe that he is an American hero and he deserves to be treated and viewed as such. And he absolutely should be. Now that this ruling has come to light, there is no reason why he shouldn't be allowed to return to this country and to live his life out where and how he intended it. He has already suffered enough to have to be exiled away and have to worry about extradition. We see what's happening with Julian Assange right now. That's another case that I really want to get into, but I just need to, I need to get everything straight. But I can just tell you outright, as far as Julian Assange is concerned as well, that I support Julian Assange. I believe that what he did with WikiLeaks was totally justified and should be protected by the First Amendment. I don't care that it harmed Democrats. That doesn't matter. What he did was expose factual information, and that is literally the job of a journalist. So I believe that before I got into journalism. I certainly believe that only more so now that I am a part of this weird world. But I just want to make sure that I come out there and voice my support for both of them, and saying that what is being done to them is an injustice, both to Julian Assange and to Edward Snowden. So the extradition by the U.S. And the sad thing about the Julian Assange situation is that because he transgressed against Democrats are sitting around, and the Democratic Party and the Democrats are sitting around cheering this stuff on, because it all to protect the power and protect institutional power of the DNC and the Democratic Party. And meanwhile, turning away from their constituency, who the base does not believe in this. The base does not support NSA surveillance of U.S. civilians. They were surveilling phone records and lying about it. And they were, spying on U.S. civilians. They were spying on you and I, spying on you everyday people. And trust me, it can happen to any of us. If you speak out against the established ways, then you are at risk. And I think a lot of folks that watch this will be within that group. So we have to watch out and make sure that we pay attention to these sorts of stories, because if they can do it to someone, a journalist like that, with all of their, credibility and backing, then they can definitely do it to the smaller folks. If they can do what they did to Tulsi Gabbard, in smearing her as like this Assad apologist and this sort of, even though she's a sitting like U.S. veteran and a sitting member of the U.S. National Guard, they still smeared her as anti-American. So there's no amount of service or loyalty you can offer to this country that if you ever step outside of the accepted bounds, then you will be casted out from, accepted society as well. And if it can happen to folks like that, if it can happen to a sitting congresswoman who's also a member of the U.S. National Guard or the Hawaiian National Guard, then it can happen to any of us. And if it can happen to Edward Snowden and Julian Assange, it could happen to myself or anyone watching this as well. So we have to stand up. And even if it's not, even in the case like, oh, it was against Democrats, it made Democrats like I guess, me, obviously, I had the same critique even when I was rocking with the Democratic Party. I had the same critique and still believed that, Julian Assange was done dirty. But certainly, there's, me now, folks might just say, oh, well, you don't like either party. And sure, I don't. They both suck. Both parties suck. As Tim Black says, both parties suck, Johnson. So yeah, that's, we should be critical regardless of who the information may disparage. If it's factual and a journalist is just doing their job, then that's a violation of the First Amendment. If we are trampling on that, then all of our free speech can be trampled on. So we got to look out for this. If you believe in free speech, you should be supporting Edward Snowden and supporting Julian Assange, whatever party you identify with, or whatever your ideology. You should certainly have that consistency if you do believe in free speech and the First Amendment. So the freedom of press. So they should Edward Snowden, he revealed important factual information that the US government was spying on its citizens, and he should have been praised and treated like a hero, and instead he was exiled. So I hope that this is a vindication. Right now it's only on paper, but hopefully it's followed up with real action where he's allowed to resume his old life, essentially, and hopefully have some sort of return to normalcy, whatever that means in 2020 pandemic COVID, era. Like, who's returning to normalcy anyways? But all right. Thanks for watching Radical Democracy Podcast. I'm your host, Kamali Rose. Please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and if it doesn't bother you, hit that bell below to receive notifications whenever we go live or launch a new video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you can afford it, do me a huge favor and head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/radicaldemocracy and throw me a few bucks. Whatever you can afford, it goes a long way and I will greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel to continue to exist and to grow. And I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. All right. Peace. All right, that was a good one. That one's it.